Hey y'all, Ramdino here, coming at you again for another Appalachian Trail community news and THru HIker update. Want to thank all the THru hikers that are out there on the trail right now for sending me these updates this week. That helps me out quite a bit to put this together and just to help me serve you and serve the hiker community, help me build the hiker community by bringing this information to you. So thanks a lot to y'all. Let's go ahead and talk about y'all and what you've been doing out there. So Runway, she is in the shanties right now. She has jettisoned a bunch of her gear. She went down from a base weight of 26 down to 19. So congratulations on that. That's awesome. One of the things she got rid of was her cooking gear. So she lost, I guess, I don't know, 1.4, 1.5 pounds of that just with all her cooking gear. So she is cold soaking stuff now, and she is looking forward to getting her some ice cream from the campground there. If you're in the Shanties Runway or anybody else out there, go get you some of those blackberry shakes. They are delicious. Two Knees is hiking with Not Sure and Brightside, and they are north of Bland. And Two Knees indicates Rob's foot is almost healed, so they will be up in the miles here very soon. Crazy Quilt is around Parisburg. The Bacos, they are north of Carlisle, Pennsylvania. Whisper has made it to Connecticut. Luscious and Walmart, they are through Grayson Highlands. Hillbilly is also in Grayson Highlands. Crusoe is in the Shanties and says hikers are everywhere. Sloth is around Delville and is recuperating from the vaccine. Not so much is past Franconia Notch. Masochist is one of our Eastern Continental Trail hikers this year, and he has made it to Parisburg. He says seems like there's a lot more hikers out there on the trail since Damascus, and apparently the hostels in that area are very full, and they're apparently turning people away. So he's heard of several hostels that are doing that. So that's typically what happens when the main section of the bubble comes through some area. He also indicated that he feels like the norovirus is in the area because he's heard of some hikers himself, and then he's talking about it that were sick, but he's also heard about other people talking about people in shelters that have been sick there with the norovirus. So just be aware of that up there, folks. Don't eat out of each other's gorp bag, or don't stick your hands in each other's food bag. Please try to stay clean and everything else, and hopefully the norovirus will not get out of hand like it has done in the past. Sarge has made it to New York. He's around the Bear Mountain area, and he's taking a couple zeros, says he's losing too much weight. So obviously when you are hiking, you're going to lose weight if your calorie intake is less than what you're burning that day. So, you know, some people want to lose weight, and that's awesome, but then other people don't. And one of the things that Evan from Evan's Backpacking did when he hiked, I believe that was 2019, he took a jar of olive oil with him, and he would just slather his food in that olive oil, and that gave him the extra calories he needed to keep on going and keep from losing so much weight. Don on the AT, he has made it to Hot Springs. He had a pretty significant bear encounter. We'll talk about that in just a few minutes. Blueberry's made it to Fort Montgomery, New York, and he visited the zoo there with the Sutton family. Hanging and Belch, they have crossed the Hudson River in New York State. Expat has made it to Rockfish Gap. Punisher and Bobbitt, they are also hiking the Eastern Continental Trail this year, and they are finishing up Connecticut within the next day or so. Dark Web, he has made it to Buena Vista, and he asked me the question, if the ATC isn't recognized hikers from before May, why did he sign the book down at Amacola Falls? And my response to him was, I don't know. Why did you? So Cryptic, he sent in a picture of the fire scar up there where we had the fire in Massachusetts, and appreciate that. Of course, he is, the fire's been put out for over a week now, and he's long gone past there now, but we do appreciate just seeing what that fire looked like up there. Stormy Weather is around Atkins. Huckworth here is north of Parisburg. He is heading into the Triple Crown area. He had to take a few zeros to heal an injury. However, during that time, he got up with some friends of his, Snacks and Mr. Snacks, and they went out and did trail magic for other thru hikers out there. That is so cool to see thru hikers doing trail magic for thru hikers. So thanks a lot for doing that, Huck and the Snacks. That's pretty awesome, and I hear they had a good time doing it. Mr. Freeze, he is through the Presidential Traverse and is up and over Mount Washington. Seth has crossed the 1/3 mark on his flip-flop. He's currently north of Kent, Connecticut. He says the weather is abysmal. It's 44 degrees and rain. So that is abysmal for me because I'm kind of a fair weather hiker. I can be wet, I can be cold within reason, but I do not like it being cold and wet. So good luck with that. Cephas is in Pearisburg, Virginia. Pungo is north of Harper's Ferry and gave us some info about the ATC headquarters. We'll talk about that in just a few minutes. Shoes has made it to Pearisburg. He took a 00 for the weekend and spent some time with Mrs. Shoes. Goob has made it to Damascus, Virginia. Skidmark, Bruce, and Tom, they are at Middle Creek Campground. Ewok in the Woods is north of the Mohican Outdoor Center, which is near Delaware Water Gap. The Vintage Hikers, they are near Carlisle. Nomad is around Pearisburg with the Dirt Bond Trap family and the Chads. And then I want a special shout out to Captain America of Hermit Ventures channel off of YouTube. He is doing his hike and dedicated it to, he's an Air Force veteran, and he's dedicated his hike to 16 fallen airmen from his Office of Special Investigations to raise awareness of their sacrifice and to raise donations for their family. So head on over to his YouTube channel. That's Hermit Ventures, and give him some love, give him some just attaboys as he keeps going on his trip up there, and subscribe and help him out and get him all the way to Katahdin. And then we got a few folks that are off the trail from this past week. Double Take is off at mile 765. He had some major back issues and says that he is happy with what he did. This is his second through hike attempt he tried in 2019. And BFG is off due to a nasty fall. He had 13 stitches and head lacerations, and it looked just absolutely awful. He had some folks that were near him that did some wilderness first aid, put a pressure bandage on him, got him to a trailhead where he got in and got to the doctor and got that all fixed up. So he's not sure if he's going to get back out there or not after he wants to heal up a little bit and reconsider. He's had 22 falls, so that's a lot of falls for one person out there. So good luck with that, BFG. Subman and Suds, they are off the trail. They're off for good. It was just getting too hot and humid for them, and they just were not having fun anymore. They also had a car wreck while they've been on trail, and so just a lot of stuff not going their way, so they are getting off trail. Trimmer, he is off trail due to some feet issues. He thinks it may be a vitamin deficiency, so hopefully he'll get that worked out and get back on the trail. So I mentioned something about a bear that Don on the AT had run into, and he camped out at Rich Mountain Shelter, which is just south of Hot Springs, and he indicated that they had 2 bear bags that were stolen and 1 bag that was the Ursack type with the Kevlar in it. So the Kevlar bag was completely ripped up, and the other 2 bags were just completely missing. The only thing still around was the rope and the rock bag. And they were not hung PCT style, so that may be one reason that the bear got it, or the bears, whichever one it was. But the bears have learned to even defeat the PCT style, much less the normal. They've since learned how to hang the PCT style, but you know, with the earth sack, you've still got to hang that bag up in the trees. You can't just leave it tied to a tree somewhere like the earth sack people say that you can do, because I have seen, this is at least the second occasion this year already that somebody's reported me their earth sack has been compromised and it's failed. So, you know, if you're not putting it up in the tree like that, or you're not hanging PCT, just count on the distinct possibility that you're going to be making a resupply sooner rather than later. So some trail news out there. In a group called Keep Virginia Cozy is a philanthropic group that their mantra is be kind to one another, be nice to one another, and pick up trash. So that's an awesome mantra to have. And they are doing a Trail Magic Day on June 13th at Rockfix Gap there near the Shanties. So there, if you're coming into or out of the Shanties, you'll see them set up there at the overpass, and they're going to have food, drinks, baby wipes, battery charging stations. Pack out all your trash, and they'll be there from 8 o'clock in the morning till sundown. So thanks a lot for them to doing that. And then our New England correspondent Whispers reached out to some state forest reps up there and says that the Massachusetts backcountry campsites and shelters are open now. And he doesn't have a written announcement, but that is what they have verbally told him. He also indicates that some, but not all, of the AMC huts are open, and eventually all of them will be getting open. However, some of them are going to be limited in how many people that they are taking. Some of them have some large groups that are going to take up the whole place. And then, but you can stop and maybe get shelter if it's a really bad storm. They're not going to be doing work for stay. You can possibly buy something there, food, although the food is very expensive up there. But work for stay for the foreseeable future is probably not going to be an option for you. He did indicate that the AMC has said that by late summer or sometime in the fall, they hope everything is back to normal and it'll be safe for them to do work for stay or just normalize then. And then big news was the Katahdin trails are open. So last week we had reported that we were concerned that they had missed the original early opening date, and that the June 1st, when there is a slew of hikers, the first week of June, that have signed up for their Sobo trip, we were concerned that they may not be able to do their summit because it hadn't opened yet, and that date was approaching really quick. Well, apparently Baxter State Park is listening to our channel too, because they have opened up the Katahdin Trail. So that's awesome to hear that. And just kidding about that. They're not watching me. They don't care about me. But however, they are open, so I was glad to know that. And then the Kennebuck Ferry is open now, and it'll be open from now until September 30th. Now, I have learned that the water pumps that are at some of the shelters in Pennsylvania, New York, and Connecticut are being removed. So those shelters they're being removed from are Nuclear Lake, 501, Eckville, Scott Farm, RPH, Wiley, Morgan Stewart, Shenandoah Messerschmitt, Silver Hill, and 10 Mile shelters. So there was a study done that the ATC was aware of about 5 or 6 years ago. And that study indicated that there was going to have to, the ATC was going to have to take over or start doing some extra stuff that it hadn't done previously on those pumps. And that was mainly in compliance with safe drinking standards that the National Forest and the National Park Service were going to make them start adhering to. So they're going to have to make sure the wells were inspected regularly, make sure they were repaired. And there's a lot of other stuff they're going to have to do, and I may be putting something together and doing a separate video on that, but suffice it to say, it was going to cost some money. It was pretty onerous. However, the ATC had 5 to 6 years to figure it out, and apparently they have not been doing anything over that period of time to figure out how they were going to keep those pumps open and keep them in compliance. And so now they've just decided to remove them. So that's going to make it even harder on hikers through there, particularly Pennsylvania, where they've already told the trail clubs to pull water caches that Trail Angels put out. So that just makes it harder for hikers in Pennsylvania and elsewhere, because, you know, during droughts, particularly in Pennsylvania, it can be very dry and goes for long stretches without water. So hikers, one, be aware of that, and it's just important that y'all stay hydrated out there. And I hate to hear that they are doing that, and rather than finding some way of keeping those and maintaining those out there. As a minimum, I would have thought they would have spoken with the trail clubs and let them maybe take over those in their areas. And perhaps they did. I'm still doing research on that, and maybe I'll put something else out later if I find out enough information about it. Pungo got to ATC headquarters on May 27th, and Pungo said that the AT Center is open. They're taking pictures, and they are issuing bag tags as long as you sit around and listen to their uh, classes that they have there. And they also have a logbook there that they're taking registration. So not sure what data that's going to give them. It's not going to give them really any decent data, because, you know, they've just now started that. So it's not going to help them much for the year. He said, unsurprisingly enough, he was the 15th person to register up there. So the ATC is backtracking on a few things. Imagine that. So last week we had reported that they would not be allowing the restrooms open, and that information came directly from the ATC on their website. And they have decided that now they will open the restrooms up there. So that's a good thing up there. But they will be doing that. You still cannot buy anything there, but they will be giving you or trading you fuel, and they've indicated the fuel they'll be trading is alcohol, denatured alcohol, and Coleman fuel for a donation. So technically they're not selling you anything because they've closed down their shop there. They won't sell you anything, but they will trade it for a donation. I'm assuming they will take a donation without giving you any fuel as well. And if you give them a donation, be careful. They may actually take something away from you. But the other thing is, I don't know, there's very few, it's like 0.001% of the hikers that use alcohol stoves or Coleman fuel. Typically Coleman fuel is the white gas you think of. So, otherwise they would have just said canisters, which there's more than Coleman that makes canisters. I don't even know if they make canisters. So not real sure about how that's going to work, how they're going to, if they're not selling you stuff, I presume they're not selling it to you because they don't want that hand-to-hand transaction going on there, possibly spreading the COVID virus. So I don't know how they're doing that. Maybe they're using the hot pot tongs like we said before, or hey, I'm here to give you a donation for fuel. What? More? That's, okay. That's a little stiff, don't you think? I'm just giving you a slight... What? Good gosh. Look, this is all I've got, okay? It's going to be sweaty. And here, take it. I need some fuel. I got to eat. I'm not cold soaking. Okay, okay. Okay, thank you very much. I appreciate it. Hey, wait a minute. Wait a minute. There's nothing in it. It's empty. Hey. Maybe something else. But in any case, they've also indicated that mail drops will not be accepted, but you can send your mail drops to the Harpers Ferry post office. So we don't want to touch your stuff. We don't want to give you your stuff, but we'll let the post office do that and pawn that off on them. So at least they are taking the Polaroid shots up there, and they are giving out the bag tags for what all that's worth for folks coming through there. Then a couple things that are going on with me. Me and Mr. Ramdino, we made it up to Franklin, North Carolina, went by Outdoor 76 to pick us up some new trail kicks, and made it up to Wayabald. I want her to see that. She'd never been up there before, and got up there, met a 2022 hopeful stepping stone, and also crashed a wedding party up there. So that was pretty cool to see that going on, and had a good time just up there watching that and chatting with folks. And then Come Along and I, we are getting ramped up for our Vermont Lash going on the first week in July, starting July 2nd through the 10th. So last week I'd said June. That was an error. We're going to be up there July 2nd. A lot of you folks have reached out and said you'd like to help out or want to meet us on the trail. Please do that. Be glad to hike with anybody that wants to come out. We'll be starting in North Adams on the 2nd in the afternoon sometime, and then heading on into hopefully want to make it over Killington, but definitely stopping at Rutland. Not sure if we're going to do the first trailhead there in the south or make it over Killington and do the northern trailhead on the other side of Killington into Rutland. So we'll see how that goes. Just depends on how our miles go. Not going to be in a big rush this time to do that. Just want to wish everybody a happy Memorial Day. Remember, Memorial Day is for those folks that have died in war so that we all could be free and so that we could go and hike the trail and just so that we could have other freedom. So thank you to all the folks out there that did that, and just spend time with each other. Remember that. Have a happy Memorial Day. And as always, appreciate you, and we'll see you out there.